can be eradicated. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission successfully recovered a 5-acre plot valued at 2 billion shillings belonging to the University of Nairobi. The land, which had been grabbed by a private developer, was handed over to the institution by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission on the 29th of January 2019. Similarly, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission scored another major victory in its fight against corruption after former Kenya Sports Authority Managing Director James Mulewa was ordered to pay the government 74.6 million shillings for unexplained assets. Let's get more on part 3 of our continuing series, Graft Diaries, with George Maringa.
In part 3 of Graft Diaries, we tell you about the recovery of a parcel of land which belonged to the University of Nairobi. In 2015, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission received a complaint from the university that a parcel of land LR number 1/514 situated along Galana Road had been grabbed and allocated to a private company. Investigations conducted by the Commission's sleuths revealed that the property was illegally or fraudulently allocated and a title issued to Abadeas Engineering Contractors Limited. During the pendency of the suits, the defendant, Abadeas Engineering Contractors Limited, expressed interest to resolve the matter through the alternative dispute resolution mechanism. The Commission took into account the fact that cases in courts tend to drag for an inordinate long period, and being cognizant of the spirit of the Constitution encouraging ADR, agreed to the request. The Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, EACC, handed over the piece of land in Kilimani, estimated at 2 billion shillings, to the University of Nairobi after repossessing it from the private company. The title deed of LR number 1/514 parcel was presented by EACC Chairman, Archbishop Retired Eliud Wabukala, to the university management. Let's now focus our attention to another case of asset tracing, that of James Mothethe Mulewa, who at the time of his prosecution was the Managing Director at the Kenya Ports Authority. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission got wind of the acquisition of unexplained assets. The case dates as far as 2010.
We cannot go searching without a court order. So we did a search. From the search, we were able to retrieve a lot of documents, including bank records, bank documents showing the account numbers, some deposit slips. We also found now the details of the properties.
After obtaining such warrants, the EACC raided Mulewa's home and made several discoveries.
From the bank account, we could see deposits of about 63 million shillings. Yes, so now the question was, explain to us this money. How did you get to deposit this money, all this money into your account? And remember, this is not salary, because salary we had actually kept aside. This is cash and check deposits. So we issued with a notice for him to explain. And from his explanation, we were able to gauge, is it something that can satisfy us as being something that is genuine or not? We were not satisfied because some of the explanations, okay, we were satisfied. The ones that we could verify, we left them out. But the ones that we could not verify, we decided to go a step further now, and now institute now the civil suit to ask the court to actually make a declaration that he forfeits those assets to the government.
EACC established that during his 2 years at the Kenya Ports Authority as Managing Director, James Mulewa acquired assets valued at 63 million and 17 million shillings, assets whose origin he would not explain.
So there are actually several properties that we were interested in. Some of which he actually was able to explain how he acquired them, bearing in mind that some he had inherited, the family properties, but there are some that he could not be able to explain. We find there's one that he had, from the records, it was in his son's name, but the son was actually a minor. So the question was, and he's actually the one who actually purchased. So the question was, how could the son have purchased these properties?
When Mulewa was appointed Managing Director, his gross salary was 1,050,000 shillings. The Commission sought to acquire the illegally owned assets.
The court ordered that he forfeits a total of 74 million shillings, which included the 63 million shillings that he had deposited in the account, and there are two properties, that whose value was 11 million. Those are ordered to be forfeited.
Such cases are handled by the Asset Tracing Division of EACC, which seeks to recover illegally acquired property and assets.
Most corrupt activities or the players, at the end of the day, what they engage in corruption is purely for one thing: personal enrichment. So how do we make them suffer? One is to take them to court through the criminal process and push for the court to actually find them guilty, for them to be fined or imprisoned. But the most satisfying thing is when the asset that they've actually worked so hard to acquire illegally is taken away from them, then it gives a very great sense of satisfaction, because we're able to actually remove that money from the wrong hands, and that money can actually be used for proper use as intended.
The amounts which had landed in the wrong hands but recovered, in this case 74 million shillings, could be used to establish several development projects. 74 million shillings can build about 78 typical classrooms in the country. It costs an average of 755,000 Kenyan shillings to build a classroom approved by Kenyan government standards, measuring 6 meters by 8 meters or 20 feet by 30 feet. They say you can run, but you cannot hide. Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission gives its guarantee to ensure accountability and transparency while recovering illegally acquired assets.
At the end of the day, however long it takes, we'll still catch up with them. And for those who are dealing with this, to know that we are watching and we'll be going after them. Kenyans, they expect us to be, like the judge, the jury, and the executioner. It's like you report a matter today, tomorrow we've investigated, the day after that we've taken the matter to court, the day after that judgment has been delivered. It doesn't work that way. We have to go through the whole legal process. It's something that takes time. It's not in our control, but at the end of the day, we will get there.
George Maringa, KTN News.